Gotta get through this so I can play some Borderlands. Let's talk. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, September 12th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Borderlands isn't even the biggest thing that happened this week. That would be this week's Nintendo Direct, which was very Mario focused because it is Mario's 40th anniversary. So congratulations to Mario. And doesn't look a day over whatever Mario's age is, presumably. The big piece of like all the Mario stuff that was in the Nintendo Direct, at least big thing for me, was the Mario Galaxy movie got announced. Just like a 50-second trailer. So the next movie from Illumination, starring, I assume, Chris Pratt's Mario, they'll be going to space. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Mario Galaxy in movie form. So should be fun there. They also announced like DLC for like Mario Wonder. Is that just the name of the game? Super Mario Wonder? There was also Mario Galaxy stuff. There was Brothership stuff. So any game with Mario in it that's come out in the past half a decade had DLC come out, all surrounding the celebration of Mario. But there were other non-Mario stuff related in this 65-minute Nintendo Direct. One of the big ones being Metroid Prime 4 finally has a release date. It is coming out December 4th. So one of the last things that you'll do this year is you could potentially pick up Metroid Prime 4 for the Nintendo Switch 2. They keep adding more games to the more reasons to buy the Nintendo Switch. They also announced the next Fire Emblem game. This looks very like Three Houses-esque. And will be set in like a Rome-like setting. So there's a Colosseum, and there's like emperors and people running around, and you'll be fighting with your armies in I assume, faction-based system. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the next Fire Emblem. This one might actually get me into Fire Emblem, having never played one before. But last but not least, they announced a new Pokemon game coming down the pipe. And in a genre that you might not have expected, a Pokemon life sim, except for you play as a Ditto. You play as a Ditto who is pretending to be a human, and you'll slowly learn abilities to help like build up your farm of Pokemon, above Pokemon, and you'll have to meet their needs and all that kind of stuff. Pretty interesting thing, and the fact that you are a Pokemon but helping raise Pokemon. It's an interesting sell, but a Pokemon life sim is definitely something that Pokemon fans will want. So interesting stuff there. If there was anything I forgot coming out of the Nintendo Direct that I should keep my eye on, let me know. But those are all the things that kind of caught my eye. Like I said, Borderlands 4 is here. It's got an 84 Metacritic. It seems they checked their like memey, self-referential streamer stuff at the door, because this one's being a little bit better, well received. It sounds like the open world and no loading screens are a big plus. I for one was getting pretty tired of the Borderland formula of like small zones and having to wait 5 minutes to load into the next one. So really bringing it to the modern looter shooter. I've also, what I've seen of the like discoverable vaults is pretty cool. That like it's very, oh god, what's so immersive is the buzzword in video games, but emergent gameplay is like you'll do side quests and you'll unlock a vault, and like that's when you'll go into like a dungeon, which would be pretty fun. It looks pretty exciting. The one thing to note that with all these kind of modern leveling up, bringing Borderlands to like the next generation of looter shooters, it has a ton of PC issues, and I've seen the negative Steam reviews. So if you are picking it up on PC, your mileage may vary, as it seems like there's a lot of performance issues and bugs. Even in the reviews that I was reading, the PC performance was just pretty bad. So I'm playing it on console, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you do pick it up on PC, just expect there to be some issues. Of course, hopefully those get patched out sometime soon. Speaking of looter shooters, Destiny is trying to get some positive sentiment. They showed off their Star Wars DLC, I guess. I don't know quite what to call it. The content that's coming for Destiny 2, that's all Star Wars themed. You got to see lightsabers, you get to see an AT-AT, like it's pretty nut. It's that how Star Wars it is, and it kind of fits, like fighting on a desert planet, Mars, and above a Sarlacc pit, like that all feels somewhat pretty good. So interesting stuff that they're doing for Destiny. I'm still waiting for Destiny 3 before I hop in, but potentially a reason to jump back in if you want to wield around a two-headed lightsaber and throw it at the bad guys in Destiny, whose names I've forgotten. There's the Hive. That's about all I remember. That's how out of the game I am. But I digress. If this month already wasn't packed enough with the launch of Silksong and Hell Is Us and several other indie games that came out this month already, Hades 2 announced that it will be exiting out of early access and into 1.0 launch, which hopefully means it's on more diverse platforms. I feel like it's only been on Epic Game Store like the first one. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But it's launching out of early access on September 25th. So if you're somehow already done with Silksong by then, you can pick this one up. I feel like the fandom overlap between like Hades and Hollow Knight are pretty. The Venn diagram in the middle is pretty big, but I digress again. Looking forward to seeing what happens with Hades launch later this month. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have always been pretty litigious about what they own and have a pretty strong lawyer arm. Infamously going after Pal World and getting them to change how the Pokemon are summoned, and that their patent applies to summoning creatures out of a ball, which seems like a weird thing to have a patent on, but so be it. But there was a big light cast on the Pokemon and what the Pokemon Company owns this week, as we got to see a little bit more about like how extensive their U.S. patent on what the Pokemon game is and what they actually own within the game, which is pretty interesting. The biggest one is like they own summoning creatures to fight, which, like, as someone who's played D&D, and there's like plenty of D&D games out there, like being able, like, you summon creatures, like any form of necromancy is like summoning a creature and having it fight for you. Like that's like, I don't know, Bard's Tale, like summoning creatures to fight for you. It's just so ridiculous how all encompassing the idea of just like the Pokemon Company owning summoning creatures and having them fight. It's pretty whack. A lot of light was shed on this here. I'm obviously not a lawyer, but it's pretty interesting. Just seeing, what they're going to be able to go after people for. And like the article I did read, which I'll have a link down below, talks about like the lawyer who wrote it up is already saying like this is way too all encompassing and like applies to way too many games, and people are just going to like break it. Like, again, not legal advice, but it's just like the fact that this is such a broad stroke means that it's going to be hard to not, not be in violation. So pretty crazy stuff going on with this, like the Pokemon and what they own as far as video game patents, which, has its own baggage associated with it. So pretty interesting stuff there. Speaking of baggage and video games, the Secretary of Health, given RFK Jr., is looking into the link between gun violence and video games. That old gem is back in the limelight. Given what happened this week, I could see why this would be brought up. But again, like it's so whack that this gets rolled out anytime something negative happens, and it's weird that we have a Secretary of Health who isn't a medical professional, and thus brings in all that baggage associated with not knowing how health works. And also, I'm very curious what the people who say keep politics out of video games think of when politics gets thrust into the video games by people thinking that gun violence is related, like gun violence is somehow causally related to playing violent video games, which has been proven several times over that it doesn't, and there isn't, and like, yeah, I'm just very tired of this old thing, and that somehow those are related because they typically aren't. And It's been proven 7 ways to Sunday, but we've still got to keep rolling that thing out anytime something bad happens, which is unfortunate. Moving on to something more positive and maybe some things that'll help you forget. Ghost of Yotai is doing a collab with Sapporo, the Japanese beer, which is actually pretty decent. One of my favorite beers that I like to drink when I go to an Eastern restaurant. And it comes with some DLC. So if you buy the specific Sapporo, Ghost of Yotai collab, you'll get some DLC that you can show off in game, which will be pretty fun to see. And it's not even the only, not going to talk about it here, but it's not the only beer-related video game news that happened this week. So you can go dig into that yourself. But thought I'd cast a light on Sapporo and Ghost of Yotai getting their collab on. Speaking of collaborations, bringing comedy to video game collaborations, Conan O'Brien's Clueless Gamer segment was had another video this week. This one all about Borderlands 4. It was fun watching Conan kind of make fun of all the backstory that you have, and like even some of the details that I don't even care about when I'm playing a Borderlands game. Was like talked to, and he snored through it all. It was kind of funny, but ultimately it looked like a fun first-person shooter, and this was all for charity, so it was fun to kind of participate and watch that. So I'll link down below if you want to check that out and laugh while you download Borderlands 4. The pickings for making video games into TV show and movies are getting a little slim, but it's surprising that it's taken them this long for their gaze to look towards Life is Strange, which announced this week that it's going to get a TV adaptation. The game's like almost a decade old. Also notably the game that got me into streaming. I just wanted to be able to play a game where I made decisions with a community, and so I was like throwing that gem out there as well. But yeah, I'm hoping that they keep the like the northwestern kind of indie, like the music to it. Like the music in Life is Strange is very much a part of the game. I'm also hoping that they don't do like a rewind montage, because I feel like that would kind of take away from kind of the semi-serious nature, and like they're dealing pretty heavy stuff in Life is Strange. So again, hoping that there's not like a rewind montage where she just does crazy stuff and it's cute and funny. Maybe to make light after something's gone horribly wrong, which is typical of the Life is Strange series. But yeah, I'm just hoping that they don't overuse that or make it too comedic. That's my opinion, and I like the Life is Strange series very much, so it'd be interesting to see what TV is able to do with it. Last but not least, it seems that a game doesn't. Speaking of games being adapted into things, it seems like the game doesn't have to be launched before it can even be started to talk about adaptations. According to Neil Druckmann, Naughty Dog's next game, Intergalactic, is already in talks with Hollywood about what an adaptation would be looking like. All we've seen of the game is like a 3-minute trailer, which I mean looks very like the graphics in a Naughty Dog game are head and shoulders above the rest, and so it looks like movie quality stuff went into that cinematic, but yeah, you would figure the game would have to be out and well received before they even start to talk about an adaptation, but that doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog have a pretty awesome track record. Uncharted, Last of Us, plenty of big hits under their belt. So I could see wanting to get to it early, but the fact that it's already in talks and can be talked about publicly is a little crazy to me, because we don't know how the game's going to be received or what even type of game it is, or other than it's a Naughty Dog game. So pretty interesting that we're a little cart before the horse, in my opinion, but interested to see what comes of that. But that's it for this week. Let me know if you feel I forgot anything down below in the comments. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye!